ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to welcome an exceptional individual today whose innovative ideas and dedication have significantly influenced the insurance industry. Let me welcome our mentor for today, Mr. Yashish, co-founder of the India's leading digital insurance company, PolicyBazaar.com, and a leading online market for investment and trading products, PaisaBazaar.com. We have a few questions from a sales and marketing point of view. We have one question from Deepak from Smart Waste Management Systems. So his question is, how does Policy Bazaar differentiate its brand in a crowded market? And what steps should be taken by a startup to enhance the brand positioning?
See, we've been very consistent. We want to focus on health and term. Health and term, when we started, were about 1% of the industry's premium. Today, they're about 20%. 95% of our advertising has been around health and term. It's been very consistent. मर जाओगे तो फैमिली का ख्याल कौन रखेगा? It's also been very consistent. If you fall sick, hospital bills are going to be big. Who's going to pay for that? Right? See, these are very serious matters. When the event happens, there is nobody there to support you except for the insurance company, maybe some very close friends or maybe some family members, right? So, but we have also decided to communicate it in a funny manner, like not be over serious about it, right? Because you don't want to spoil people's mood either. So it's a fine balance that we have maintained over 17 years, which does not go either way. It talks about very serious topics, but in a funny way. Things like, मर के आप स्वर्ग कैसे जाओगे अगर आपकी फैमिली स्वर्ग में नहीं है, right? फैमिली को नरक में छोड़ के आप खुद तो स्वर्ग नहीं पहुंच सकते. Things of that sort. But all I'm trying to say is almost slapstick, comedy type treatment of a very serious matter. That has been the positioning of Policy Bazaar all along. So that positioning, communication is extremely clear. Now, many people will not like it, but it's not meant for everyone. It works for a segment of people, and it works quite well for that segment. Broadly, people earning between 5 lakhs to 20 lakh rupees, tier 2, tier 3, tier 1 cities. It's the same people who watch the soap operas, the Indian soap operas. They are the same people who watch the Indian comedy shows. And our brand is not for the it is not for certain segments. That's all. I just leave it there rather than defining which segments it's not for. It's a mass Indian brand. That's all.
So another question on the sales from Yagya Prakash of VST Finserv Private Limited. What are the factors to be considered by startup founders while designing and implementing an effective distribution and channel strategy, and how to approach right partnership or collaboration to enhance the distribution network?
Yeah, I think you have to know what distribution means to you. Is it just getting customers? Is it getting quality customers? You have to also understand what are the different access channels available. Like in our case, direct is one, but there's also a POSP channel and various other channels. Then you have to see which of them meet your cost of acquisition framework or have the potential of meeting. Sometimes you have to build your dynamic P&L. It could be for a long period of time, but you do need to build your dynamic P&L. And what you need to know is that 95% of investors will not look at the dynamics of your P&L, will only look at the static. They will only look at what's going on this year. They will not give you any credit for what will happen next year or the next year or the next year. Right? But you yourself as a founder need to build a dynamic P&L and find that one investor who understands your dynamic P&L. Because that's what business is, right?
So, Narsim Sharma from Nitilaksh IT Solutions, he wants to know the sales promotion strategies that could be most effective in driving short-term sales and increasing brand loyalty among customers.
See, brand loyalty is not built by sales. Brand loyalty is built by service. But yes, you can derive quick. It's a difficult question because it will depend on which product category, what service type. But you have to kind of know where your customers are. Like if your customers are searching for that particular service on Google, then you by definition have to be there on Google. If people are talking about it on social media, then you have to be there in social media. If it's something nobody speaks about, then you have to be there on the internet at the times when nobody's watching. Right? So depending on what product category you are, you have to be available where the customer will look for you and when the customer will look for you. So I'll give you an example. If I talk about the insurance category, nobody wants to ever buy insurance. The only time people buy insurance is when something negative happens around them. They lose a family, they lose a colleague, or they lose a very close friend whose family is suffering the financial consequences of that loss or that disease, death, disease, or disability. Now, how do you know who's going to be in that situation? If you start advertising in hospitals, there's a chance people who are falling sick start buying your policy. If you start advertising at morgues, there are people, dead people might start buying your policies, how much ever smart you are. So what you have to do is somewhere be in the consumer's mind automatically beforehand, before this event happens to them. So that when the event happens, they have no choice but to come to you because you are the brand they've been thinking about. So for someone like Policy Bazaar, you need to build that background brand impression, which is there in the customer's mind already before they actually start thinking about insurance.